Ginetta Junior Championship as they get ready for their second race of the day. The cars are already out on track and making their way towards the grid. Of course, they will then do a formation lap after this green flag sighter, and they're already in a pack and close together. I'm sure that bodes well for what is to come. It will be a bit of a second chance for Freddie Slater coming into this race. Of course, Slater with a bit of a disappointing run in the first race. He will be on pole position alongside Leo Robinson. So Slater and Robinson on the front row. It will be Alicia Palmovsky and Mikey Porter on row 2 of the grid. Good to see that Alicia's getting another go from the second row. Hugo Schwarzer and Chase Fernandez, our race winner from last time. Of course, Fernandez, who did not get the best of qualifyings last time, started 8th, but he managed to take the win. Charlie Hart, our pole sitter from race 1, is in 7th alongside Luca Hopkinson. Row 5 of the grid, Henry Jocelyn and Finn Harrison. Finn Harrison, who came from 20th to take 2nd place in the first race earlier. Then it's Tom Spragg and Razor Seaworthen on row 6. Row 7, Mackenzie Douglas and Freddie Allen. Row 8 of the grid is Edu Robinson alongside Harry Moss. Row 9, and it is Felix Livesey alongside Alfie Davis. And then getting to our final row of the grid, row 10, Bria Anglis and Holly Mile. Of course, Bria Anglis, the younger sister of Burke Anglis, who we saw earlier on, or rather Blake Anglis, I should say, that we saw in the Ginetta GT Championship race that we saw earlier on. And they are hoping to one day race the 24 Hours of Le Mans together. They will have no doubt been salivating, as we all were, at the sight of the LMP1 and LMP3 Ginettas circulating a little earlier on. As you can see, with all of the cars already on the circuit, hasty exits for everybody now to get the formation lap underway. But John Ratcliffe alongside me, Adam Weller. We've also got Peter Snowden down in the pit lane to bring us podium interviews at the end of this race. But John, the Ginetta Juniors, absolutely wonderful racing earlier on. Of course, we were meant to get 20 minutes and the flag waved one lap early. We're very excited to see what would happen in that final lap. But this time we've got another 20 minutes scheduled, and once again all of those fast contenders at the sharp end are right there. I think this is going to be exciting.
It was such an amazing race earlier this morning, wasn't it? It was nip and tuck throughout the pack. We had constant battling at the front. We were watching. The pack would sort of become 2 cars, but then they'd start battling more. We'd have more join the back, then it would all blow up, and then it would all happen again. So hopefully we're going to see more of that in this race. The battling was immense. There were sort of 10 drivers that were in for the shout of a win in the earlier race. I think we're probably going to see more of the same throughout this next one, so I am well excited for it.
Yeah, me too. Freddie Slater, the championship leader coming into this weekend, only managed to finish 6th place ultimately, which is not the result that he would have wanted. He finished just behind Leo Robinson, who finished in 5th position. However, Leo will now be alongside Freddie on the front row. Of course, Razor Seaworthen, who finished 4th, is having to start down in 12th place. Charlie Hart didn't get to finish their race earlier on. He will be starting from the 4th row of the grid. So a few drivers getting a little bit of fortune in terms of the grid this time. They get the opportunity to start from a slightly better position than they had last time. Others, such as Charlie Hart, who was our pole sitter last time, will have some more work to do. However, Chase Fernandez, of course, started 8th in our earlier race and finished 1st. 2nd place was on the grid all the way down in 20th, Finn Harrison, and he ended up taking 2nd place. Finn starts from 10th this time, and Chase Fernandez will be 6th position. Charlie Hart can take comfort in the fact that we've already had a win from the 4th row in Ginetta Juniors today.
Yes, yeah, you don't need to be alarmed if you're slightly further down the grid on this one, do you?
No.
We saw people coming up. I mean, the person who finished second started on the last row, didn't they? So, I mean, you could come from anywhere in this race and do well. You heard me sort of chatting away to myself when you were reading out the grid earlier on. I think you thought I was trying to tell you something. I was just chatting away at myself, being a weirdo as usual. It was because I realised that Leo Robinson, when I saw his face come up on the screen, I remember interviewing him at the IAMI O Plate, I think in 2020 at PFI in karting. So great to see him coming through the karting ranks and then up into car racing now, showing his hand at Ginetta Juniors and being really, really quick, starting there on P2. Can't wait to see what he can do.
Yes, two-time British champion, an Italian champion as well in karting. Leo Robinson racing for Alistair Rush, Fourth Motorsport here this weekend. We've got an onboard here with Hugo Schwarzer. That's an exciting onboard to have. I'm sure we're going to get some good action out of that one. The German racer from Cologne, Germany, will be a great asset to the broadcast, I'm sure, because he was in the thick of the action. Really the main contender at points, along with Hart, to Freddie Slater. Freddie, a former world champion, a former European champion in karting circles, is doing a Lando Norris, as has become the term, and making his car racing debut in Ginetta Juniors, and has proven stellar to this point. However, 6th place, not what he's here for. He's going to be using that pole position as a good excuse to break away from the field and dominate if he possibly can. But dominating drives few and far between in Ginetta Juniors. Yeah,
breaking away from the field seems like an impossibility in this race, but I guess we'll wait and see. It's exactly what Freddie Slater's going to want to do. He's not going to want to get into the scuffles that we saw him in the earlier race, but we'll have to wait and see whether he can break that toe.
Yes, that's what he's going to be aiming for in that number 7 car. Of course, you see the Bayliss and Harding and Paragon colours on the car. He's part of the Paragon family, as it were. We're about to go racing, though, for the first time this weekend, or second time this weekend, I should say, for the Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship, round 2 of the day, and they are underway. It looked like a good start from everyone on the front row, but is it going to be Slater or is it going to be Robinson? It's Robinson. Leo Robinson goes into the lead through the first corner. Through Copse they go then, and towards Maggots and Beckett. Will they still be side by side, or will Robinson be able to fold out in front of Slater? Well, neither, because Slater's gotten through into the lead. You've got Alicia there in second place as well. Pomowski there up into second place. Mikey Porter trying to get involved in this as well. He's there in third place. A good couple of car lengths already for Freddie Slater then, but will he get swallowed back up into the pack as they go down the hanger straight for the first time?
I'm not sure what happened to Robinson there. He got a really good start off the line, just pipped Slater to that first corner, but then out of Copse, Slater got the better run and re-overtook him. And then, of course, Robinson's got eaten up by a couple of other drivers. So, yeah, interesting that off of Copse. Not quite getting the right one, but Slater already doing his best to try and break that toe. He's already got a couple of car lengths at the front.
Robinson dropped all the way down to 6th place then, after initially having a nose ahead through Copse corner. Very strange indeed. So it is Slater from Pomowski, our top 2, and then you've got Mikey Porter, who at one point was well outside the top 10, was nailing fastest laps though in that first race earlier on, and managed to recover himself up the order to 3rd place, which is where he now finds himself. Meanwhile, side by side further back, Hugo Schwarzer trying to move up into 4th position. We ride on board with Schwarzer as they approach Abbey Bend. And you just saw the quarter panel there of the car alongside him, but moves up into 4th place. That is the race 1 winner, Chase Fernandez, who took his first ever car racing victory just this morning, and he'll still be riding on a high from that going into this race this afternoon.
Yeah, we couldn't believe in the interview when he said that's my first ever car race win. Could be. How he raced in that race was not of someone who was just about to win their first race. That was impeccable driving from himself, and he's showing more of that in this one, chasing down the 33 of Schwartz at the moment. They're continuing to press on, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. You see in the rear view mirrors there briefly on that onboard, Hugo having to keep an eye on Chase Fernandez. Fernandez just trying to find a way through. It looked as though Schwarzer was going a little bit straight on there under braking, but he's managed to get the car turned in and remains in 4th position for now. I think just about everybody is cleanly through the first lap of the race, but it is Freddie Slater with the lead at the moment. However, Alicia Palmowski not far behind at all as they run across the start-finish line. She's just 3/10 back from Freddie Slater, and well in the tow as well. Mikey Porter not too far behind either, as side by side Chase Fernandez getting past Hugo Schwarzer, so that's for 4th position. Fernandez back up into P4 for now, although we know Hugo Schwarzer is one to immediately retaliate comprehensively and usually successfully.
Yes, indeed. None of them in this class have really been waiting around, have they? Being like, oh, no, I'll just wait. This isn't quite the perfect move. Nope, they've been sending it down the inside. I've seen a couple around the outside as well. It's been fantastic racing in the Ginetta Juniors so far today. But I was going to say that possibly, I was going to say before Fernandez sent the overtake, that maybe these two should start working together. There's a little gap forming between themselves and the three in front, of course, of Porter, Palmowski and Slater. And Palmowski is all over the back of Slater, just not quite close enough to go alongside just yet.
Not quite yet. I thought she might have a little dive to the inside at Stowe. Hugo Schwarzer does have that dive to the inside, so as anticipated, Schwarzer immediately fights back and gets through against Chase Fernandez. So these two are, yes, holding each other up slightly, yeah, not working together. Maybe they will later on, I don't know. I think one of the reasons that the likes of Chase Fernandez can, you know, excel so quickly is this does really feel like a middle ground between karting and car racing. A lot of the strategies from karting can be relayed over into Ginetta Juniors quite well. You see it a lot in kart racing, don't you? The kind of gesturing, no, we need to push forward and not let everyone else go when you're scrapping for 2nd or 3rd place, trying to catch up a leader or something of that nature. And a lot of that applies here in the Ginetta Juniors as well. I thought the Slater and Palmowski had just about cleared Porter, but actually, as they now run out of the village loop and through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight, I think Porter's going to get involved sooner rather than later.
I think so, yeah. Even though on the timings, Slater was just that little bit faster than both of them, dropping down into the 42s, 2 behind in the 43s. That slipstream just keeping them within it, isn't it? Keeping them there in the fight, and really right behind there, the 21 of Palmowski. It looked like there might have been a little bit of contact under braking, but either way, both of them keeping it on the black stuff and following through very, very nicely. Porter very much in with a shout now behind, and if these three do start to battle, Schwarzer, Fernandez, and basically the rest of the field are right in there waiting.
And Alicia Palmowski, of course, she got tagged in the rear going into Village in the earlier race, ended up in a spin and going to the very back of the field. She felt a little bit aggrieved by that, but was still buoyant going into this race, especially from this front row starting position. She's got a great opportunity, and she is really taking the fight to Freddie Slater at the moment. They've all crossed the line already and head towards Maggots Beckett's now. It's still Slater in the lead, but it really is 3 cars for the space of 1 there as they go through Maggots Beckett's, and look at the 4-wheel drifting. Slater there masterfully sliding the car through the first elements of Maggots and Beckett's and almost oversliding it there as he goes towards Chapel Bend. I wonder if Palmowski may now have an opportunity. If she has the straight line speed, certainly she's going to have the slipstream, surely, and almost difficult to see Palmowski as they run down the Hanger Straight, just hiding behind Freddie Slater.
Spot the bright yellow car. I never thought that'd be a difficulty. And look, there you go. Literally, as you said, the karting gestures already coming out in Ginetta Juniors.
Yeah, that's Hugo Schwarzer telling Chase Fernandez, enough of this, we need to chase the top 3. I'm not sure Chase Fernandez has got the memo, but that is exactly what I was talking about, that kind of universal gesture of putting your hand forward saying, no, 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 we need to work together. But of course, Chase Fernandez will be able to thinking that, well, yes, we do need to work together, but I need to be at the front of the queue, Hugo. Don't you understand? That's often where these things fall apart. Luca Hopkinson there in 6th place as well. He's got involved with this too. Charlie Hart is still down in 8th place just behind Leo Robinson, as side by side Chase Fernandez has a little bit of a look, and that could open the door to Luca Hopkinson, who carries more speed through Farm and towards Village. Surely has the inside line and the position, just about gets it stopped under braking, and sure enough moves up into 5th place at the expense of Chase Hernandez. As you see, he has the Ginetta Junior Scholarship branding on his car, but Fernandez with a brilliant cutback. I think he might have executed that to perfection.
Yeah, really, really nice. That initial move from Hopkinson down the inside was perfectly weighted on the brakes, but then that up and under executed almost also as perfectly from Fernandez to get back through there. Those top three continuing to battle, though. With Schwartz, okay, we saw Schwartz pointing forward, saying, let's work together. Then on the next straight, move over to defend. So I'm not sure maybe Schwartz was going against what they had said, but that little bit of defensive move has pushed Fernandez back into the path of Hopkinson, has then actually given Schwarzer that little bit of breathing room. So in the end, it's worked out how he wanted, but maybe not in the style that he was trying to portray with those gestures.
Quite possibly. Just worth noting, Chase Fernandez, of course, getting his first win here today. Karted in 2020 and 2021, and then basically spent 2022 readying himself for the Ginetta Junior Scholarship, and he is the youngest ever winner. He won the scholarship one day after his 14th birthday.
Wow.
So he is certainly a sprightly youngster and someone with a promising future, and using the Ginetta Junior Scholarship as a way to begin that process of becoming a racing star, as so many have done before him. Freddie Slater then, with the fastest lap last time by, we saw on the graphic, that's actually been surpassed by Hopkinson. Luca Hopkinson now has the fastest lap of the race, but Freddie Slater still there in the lead, still with Alicia Palmovsky and Mikey Porter right in his wheel tracks. Hugo Schwarzer going defensive as they approach Stowe Bend as well. I think maybe just getting a small nudge potentially from Chase Fernandez there. Luca Hopkinson going around the outside, and he's going to have to pay for a ticket to get back in, going that wide through Stowe. And it's got into groups of threes here, isn't it? First to third and then fourth to sixth, although Charlie Hart is looking to push Leo Robinson fourth to make it a 5-car train for fourth place, and I think he's succeeded in doing so.
I think he has. Yeah, it was a good attempt initially from Hopkinson to try it there. I think that was down at Stowe, wasn't it? Yeah, around the right-hander. I think again has tried to go up the inside. They're trying to go 3 wide at the first corner here on the GP circuit. Go back to 2 wide. That's scary enough, but they've actually made it through, impressively so. So yeah, it had become a 3-way battle. Now it's become 4, and actually the person who was leading this battle has managed to just about scamper off, haven't they, Schwartz? You just see going through our shot. This now becoming a 4-way battle over 5th place, isn't it now? And the 50 very much getting involved around the outside, of course. That's Charlie Hart getting the move done around the outside. A lovely move.
Yeah, Charlie Hart doing a good job there, as followed Leo Robinson through. I said he was going to push Robinson into the battle. He's now pushed Robinson by, and those two continue on. You've got a fight further back as well, as Finn Harrison is having to try and defend up against the likes of Tom Spragg. I think he's also gotten past C. Worthen as well. So I think Harrison for now defending 9th position. You see some lockups and some pressure under braking, definitely evident for these drivers. They're watching through the mirrors a little bit, aren't they? And the Michelin rubber is taking the brunt of that sometimes.
It certainly is, yeah. Hopkinson now, I believe, is actually at the back of this train, isn't he? Yep, there you go, confirmed on your timing tower on the left as they cross the line. Hart still trying to find a way past Leo Robinson, but he has dispatched Luca Hopkinson as of now. But equally, we see how close the racing is in Ginetta Juniors. Hopkinson could be right back involved in only a few corners' time, so don't count him out. But let's see if these 4, if they can start to work together a little bit more than they have been doing, whether they can chase back down that gap they now have to Schwartz ahead. And if Schwartz can try and get on the slipstream of Porter and get involved with the top 3 battle, as they sort of stayed the same over the last 3 laps, haven't they? They've been working together a little bit better, maybe not out of choice, but out of just general pace, and they've created this gap between themselves and the rest of the field, which is perfect for them moving into the final 8 minutes of this one.
And of course, we've seen once Hugo Schwarzer gets into a battle for the top positions, he's not one to give up in the slightest. Of course, it was contact between himself and Freddie Slater that sent both of them down to the bottom half of the top 10. By the end of the first race earlier on. Will he get to go wheel to wheel with Slater again? Remains to be seen. Alicia Palmovsky still there, waiting in the wheel tracks of Freddie Slater. And an off-track moment there for the 48. Luca Hopkinson has lost control there. Now, did he fall or was he pushed? Don't know, but either way, he went across the grass there at Club. Thankfully gets back underway. Doesn't look like he's had any significant damage to the car. May have just been an error, but either way, he's dropped well outside of the top 10, potentially out of the top 15.
Yeah, I think he was 15th and he rejoined behind Freddie Allen, it was, and he just rejoined there. So yeah, Bit gutting for Hopkinson, losing out on a few positions, but as you say, we don't know quite how that one started. An odd place to go off on the inside of the corner there. I think it looked like it was in the braking zone, possibly a bit of side-to-side contact, just sent them spinning off stage left. So gutting for that driver. But either way, continue, no damage, can fight another day.
We saw Mackenzie Douglas getting by Tom Spragg at the Village Loop just a few moments ago. They're fighting on as the 38 of Finn Harrison is just watching them in the background. It was a 4-car train, and now Finn is getting the opportunity to disappear up the road a bit. I think the 24 car has something loose under the flooring as well of that car. You can see it down the straights that there's something flapping around at the bottom of that 24 car. There is the 78 of Seaworthen as well, who was one of the top contenders in the previous race. Doesn't seem to have found that same form here, currently running, well, what will be in 10th place.
Indeed, yeah. I think Douglas has managed to jump them all, hasn't he, on that last lap? Yes, he has. I think he gained 3 or 4 positions on that last one, so even if there is something hanging off, it's not inhibiting his pace. He's jumped up to 9th place, well inside the top 10 now for Douglas, so making some good moves, leading that train. But yeah, Seaworthen and Spragg right involved in that fight as well. We look back to our leaders, though, chucking it through Maggots and Beckett's. Slater still leading this top 3 battle. They haven't changed at all in the last few laps. Slater leading Palmowski, leading Porter, and as they continue to push each other through the air, Schwartzer's just behind, and now I see that Fernandez has also cleared that secondary battle as well. He's also in a bit of no man's land, chasing down Schwartzer, and just got the fastest lap on the last lap. Keep your eye out for Chase Fernandez.
Yeah, it seems as though Palmowski can't quite draw alongside Slater on these long straights, can she? She's trying her best to get the setup out of the corner, get the run out of the corner, but not quite got the firepower to get alongside as of yet. But the race is young. Maybe Alicia, who's raced in this category last year, she's got a bit of an experience edge on a couple of the drivers around her in terms of Ginetta Junior competition. Maybe she's just keeping her powder dry until the end, you know, show your hand when it matters the most. We could see Alicia Palmowski move up the order just yet. Certainly Slater, a more than capable driver, karting world champion as we mentioned earlier on, and took 5 from 6 of the races that came before this weekend. 5 wins in 6 races. Comfortable championship lead over Hugo Schwartzer, second in the standings. So there's no doubt that Slater is performing his role to a T, but Alicia Palmowski, I don't know, I get the feeling there might be something yet to come from young Alicia, and she's saying to Mikey Porter there, we saw it through the windscreen, no, please don't attack me, let's get Freddie, let's work on trying to get past Freddie, who goes defensive.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't think he'd go that defensive.
No.
He wasn't under too much pressure there, and Palmowski was looking in the mirrors from an attack from Porter. So realistically, Slater there could have taken the quickest line and gained a little bit of space over these two behind, but he's taken the tighter line. He felt under pressure there, and that has allowed for the 33 of Schwartzer behind to close in that gap. So we do now have a four-way battle for the lead, and he isn't too far back to Fernandez, Robinson and Hart, who have all sort of split off from each other. And if Slater keeps defending like this, it is going to be a big battle for the lead very soon.
Yeah, Slater is certainly feeling the pressure now, feeling the need to go defensive. Hugo Schwartzer registers the fastest lap of the race, 2:38.833, as he challenges Mikey Porter for 3rd position. He's got the run on the approach to Maggots Beckett's. I have to believe he's made that position up on Mikey Porter now, has the best view in the house to watch as Palmowski continues to stick to the rear of Freddie Slater. Brilliant racing between these two. Once again, Slater and Schwartzer find themselves in the same battle, and this time Alicia Palmowski is there too. 3 of the most talented drivers on this year's Ginetta Junior Championship grid line astern, and that's not to discredit either Chase Fernandez or Mikey Porter, who I would say are pretty much there now too.
Definitely they are. Yep, as we saw from the earlier race today, any driver involved in this gaggle is up for the win here. And what a move from Schwartzer. Did the up and under there and is going for the lead, is trying it now round the outside of Slater. Has got the best run there down into this section of corners to the left-hander. Slater's just got it under braking and chops off the nose cone to Schwartzer. And looking behind, the 19 now getting involved as well. Porter is forcing Palmowski wide, forcing her down to 4th place.
Yeah, Alicia there losing a couple of places. Now has to worry about Chase Fernandez behind, as well as Freddie Slater once again hugs the inside on the approach to the corner. He and Hugo Schwarzer, I'm sure, will have exchanged a couple of words. With what theme, I don't know, but certainly will have discussed the earlier incident, the earlier contact down at Brooklands. They're now side by side practically once again as they go through Village. Schwarzer tries to get the better run towards the loop. He's going to be given the outside line because Slater's definitely holding on to the inside through there. Power down, and Slater does get a good run out of the corner, but so does Hugo Schwarzer, and he's going to bring everyone else with him too as they do the long run down the Wellington Straight.
There was a little front left lock-up from the second place driver heading into the left-hander there. Just managed to pull out of it and can continue to carry the speed down. Is also obviously helped by the slipstream as they head down the very long straight. Again, tries to the outside. A little bit of understeer as he tried to pitch it in there. The car just did not want to turn, but equally he got it turned to the end. And Schwarzer continues to stay in second place, but he is looking like the biggest challenger to Freddie Slater's lead at the moment, isn't he?
He absolutely is. Chase Fernandez, black and white flag for track limit, so if he makes another track limit violation, he could face a penalty. We've already had a 5-second penalty further back in the field. Hugo Schwarzer, meanwhile, launches out of the draft and is now trying to go around the outside at the first corner at Copse, and surely can't get that done, does not get that done for the time being. But look at Mikey Porter. Porter got a very good run through Copse corner and is now welded to the rear of Schwarzer, who in turn is right there with Slater. The top 3, 4, 5 all together, and Charlie Hart, who's up to 6th place. We can't rule him out either. He's getting closer and closer to the rear. 40 seconds left on the clock, so this will be the final lap of the race. Where has the time gone? There was 20 minutes on the clock, what felt like 3 minutes ago. We are already on to the final lap. We're on the final run down the Hanger Straight, and you can see Schwarzer closing, passing potentially Freddie Slater as they run through Stowe. Schwarzer on the unfavoured outside line, and Freddie Slater just about holds on. Alicia Palmowski sneaks past Porter, sneaks past Schwarzer as well, I believe. She may even have the lead. Go on, Alicia. Amazing move if you can make that stick. Freddie Slater side by side with Alicia Palmowski. Oh, a contact then as Hugo Schwarzer dives to the inside line. For a moment, it looked like Palmowski may have had the lead. She's now down to 3rd and side by side with Mikey Porter. How this race is ebbing and flowing.
Oh my goodness, I can't keep up with this battle. This is insane. Fernandez is on the inside there trying to get himself involved with this battle at the front, but he can't quite get alongside there as they get to the end of the Hamilton Straight. Has to feed in behind as well. Palmowski squeezing out to the curb. That was Mikey Porter just getting run out wide. Manages to feed back in 4th place, but it's all kicked off on this final lap. But Freddie Slater still in the commanding position there in 1st place.
Palmowski having to go defensive there through the Village Loop section. I think that may have hindered her progress relative to Hugo Schwarzer. I think the best she can do from here is finish 3rd, and that's going to be a big ask with Porter, Fernandez and Hart all on the scene behind. Slater and Schwarzer then are once again fighting together for the lead, approaching Brooklands. Schwarzer looks like he's too far back, but Slater feels a need to go defensive anyway. That could cost him now as he goes through Brooklands and Luffield for the final time. The battle still going on for 3rd place behind Freddie Slater. Absolute defensive driving, doesn't want to give Schwarzer half an opportunity. Schwarzer just pushing, knocking on the door, saying, come on, let me through, but it's not to be. It's going to be half dozen delight. Win number 6 of the season for Freddie Slater as Hugo Schwarzer tries to beat him to the line but can't quite do it. Alicia Palmowski holds on to the podium after briefly leading the way on the final lap. Mikey Porter in 4th, Chase Fernandez 5th, and Charlie Hart rounding out a top 6, covered by 2.2 seconds. Leo Robinson was there with them as well in 7th place. Finn Harrison has crossed the line for 8th, ahead of Tom Spragg and Mackenzie Douglas, who rounds out our top 10. But our top 7 cars were ultimately separated by 2.3 seconds. And once again, I make effectively the same point I made earlier on today. Doesn't that just define Ginetta Junior Racing?
Yeah, they certainly didn't disappoint, did they? Another fantastic race from the Ginetta juniors. Once again, those top 6, top 7 that were involved at the end all looked like they could have a shot at the win there if just something went, if the luck went in their direction, but it went in the direction of Freddie Slater in the end. Well, no need for luck for him, just some fantastic defending. Maybe went a little bit early on the defending from a commentator's point of view anyway, but equally, he made it stick, he made those defensive moves when he needed to, and he held on the position to the checkered flag, so a massive well done to Freddie Slater.
Yeah, Freddie Slater taking win number 6 of the season and extending his championship lead in the Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship. Hugo Schwarzer taking 2nd place ahead of Alicia Parmovsky. Mikey Porter in 4th place, and 5th place to Chase Fernandez. Charlie Hart in 6th position. Leo Robinson 2.3 seconds back from the winner in 7th place. Finn Harrison 8th place in that 2nd race after P2 earlier on today. I'd say an overall good day for Finn Harrison and Assetto Racing. Mackenzie Douglas in 9th ahead of Razor Seaworthen, who just actually made up a place at the end there because of a penalty for the number 16 of Tom Spragg. So Razor Seaworthen inheriting 10th place. Freddie Allen in 11th, Tom Spragg in 12th, Edu Robinson in 13th in the 51, and Felix Livesey in 14th place. Harry Moss rounding out the top 15 for Fox Motorsport in his number 47. Bria Anglis in the 16th position. Henry Jocelyn 17th. Holly Mile in 18th place. Luca Hopkinson and Alfie Davies both failing to take the checkered flag. Of course, we saw Hopkinson have his spin at the a couple of laps from home at the club.